Hey everybody, hope you're doing okay. I'm Mike, Dr. Bruner, whatever you want to call me. So for the Wellness Nugget today, I wanted to talk a little bit about a concept that is very simple. I'm not going to blow your mind today, but it's incredibly important. That being said, you know me, I've got to give a little background, right? I'm not going to jump straight to it. So as a little background and lead up for this, one thing to just always be thinking about, I've kind of mentioned it before, but a lot of this stuff that our minds do that cause us trouble, they're actually trying to do right by us. They're actually trying to watch out for us, take good care of us. It's just that our minds have a lot of ways that they seem over and over again to kind of misjudge or just kind of misguide us a little bit. So one of those things is that when we're stressed, upset, what have you, going through a lot, our minds tend to kind of underestimate what we're capable of doing. Okay, so in other words, when we're struggling, our minds will tell us, oh, don't do that, that's too much, you can't handle that, right? And we tend to listen because we tend to listen to our minds in general. In a lot of ways it's a good thing to do. And then things build up, right? I can't tell you how many people I talk to who tell me how their house is a mess, and the idea of trying to clean it up is just like, no, like it's not going to happen, and that's your mind kind of saying, hey, you need to take it easy, that's too much for you, don't do that stuff, rest, and then you'll feel better. But of course, 90% of the time, that's not how it goes, right? It just continues to build and build, and when we don't do things, it just becomes even bigger, and then it's even harder to get started, okay? So the very, very simple principle that we have learned from our behavior science, over and over again, is that if we can make tiny little changes and be successful with that, chances are we'll go on to make more little changes. And over time, those little changes turn to big changes, okay? I will tell you easily the number one mistake, if I'm going to put that kind of negative label on it, number one mistake that I see people make when they're trying to make some good change for themselves is that they're way too ambitious with their plan. It's too big, it's too hard, okay? So very simply, what I want you to experiment with this week is something that you have not been able to get going on, whether that's some kind of chore or task or job, whether it's a healthy behavior change. I do this with exercise. It works really well for me with getting myself exercising when I've been out of it. Take that thing and whatever your plan has been that hasn't been working, scale it down however much you need to. Maybe it's just by a little bit, maybe it's by a ton, okay? The idea here is that the plan you're making, you are not really going to pay as much attention to whether it's enough, whether it's, a significant change. In other words, we don't really care as much what you're going to accomplish with the change. We're more simply interested in you being able to make a plan that's small enough and easy enough that you can accomplish it, and then you can accomplish it, and then you can think to yourself and see, hey, I made that plan, I followed through, I did it, I'm capable of this. Number one, you're going to feel at least a little satisfaction. You may feel a little silly for feeling satisfaction, but you will. And two, it kind of shows your mind, oh wow, mind, thank you so much for trying to take good care of me by trying to keep me from overdoing it. But look, we managed to do this much, and chances are when you do that, you're going to be able to think, okay, what's the next little thing that's this easy I can do? And that's going to feel a little more doable. Or maybe you'll even think of something a little bit bigger, and you'll think, I didn't think I could do that, but now that I've done this, maybe I can. A lot of times it's immediate. A lot of times you'll make this little plan, and let's say you plan to clean for 2 minutes because that's all that you feel like you can do. A lot of times you'll clean those 2 minutes and you'll be like, okay, I can probably do a little more of this now that I've gotten started. It doesn't have to be that way though. So that's it. Very simple, no matter how easy and simple your goal or your plan that you've been trying to work on already seems. If you haven't been successful, just try making it even smaller and see what happens. Hope this was helpful. Hope you all are doing well. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.
This is an informational video that is not intended to replace professional treatment for specific mental health problems or symptoms. If you're having thoughts about harming yourself or others, call your therapist or doctor right now. You can find contact information and call your nearest HSO location to schedule an appointment at www.healthsourceofohio.org/locations. You can also talk to someone now by calling the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255.